This episode is made possible by our sponsor, Omega Bright Wellness. I've taken their omega-3 supplements for many years, and so has my wife, and that's why I invited them to sponsor my podcast. I'm proud to have them. You can find all of their products online at omegabrightwellness.com, and bright is intentionally misspelled B-R-I-T-E, omegabrightwellness.com. This episode is also sponsored by Landmark College, another institution that I have warm personal relationship with in Putney, Vermont. It's the college of choice for students who learn differently. Learn more at lcdistraction.org. Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm your host, Dr. Ned Hallowell. Today, and in subsequent episodes, I'm going to sort of give you a mini course in ADD, the ABCs of ADD, if you will. And I still call it ADD because it was ADD when I learned about it. Technically, it is all ADHD now, what it is and what it isn't. So let's start off with the term itself, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's a terrible term. Just say that right off the bat. This is not a deficit of attention at all. We have an abundance of attention. I say we because I have the condition myself. We have an abundance of attention. Our challenge is to control it. And I don't see it as a disorder. I see it as a trait. Can it be a disorder? Yes, it can ruin your life. Absolutely no doubt about it. ADHD at its worst can ruin your life. But it can also be a superpower. I know many entrepreneurs, talented artists, creators, writers who say their ADHD is the key to their success. So the goal I have with myself and all the people I treat is to unwrap their gifts, develop, identify, promote their talents, and in so doing, reduce the damage done by the downside. To the point where I've given it a different name because ADHD is so dripping with pathology. I call it VAST, V-A-S-T, Variable Attention Stimulus Trait, V-A-S-T. And that term was suggested to me by a woman who works in public radio in San Francisco. And I love the term, Variable Attention Stimulus Trait. And it is a fascinating condition because it's composed of positives and negatives. Most people who know about ADHD know about the negatives: distractibility, impulsivity, hyperactivity, the hallmark triad of symptoms. But if you take each of those negatives and turn it on its head, you get a positive. What's the flip side of distractibility? It's curiosity. That's why we, don't let something go. Well, what's that over there? And what's that over there? And what's that over there? We're endlessly curious. We're constantly wanting to go wherever our curiosity leads it. The ADD mind is like a toddler on a picnic. Goes wherever curiosity leads it with no regard for danger or authority. And the second one, impulsivity, that's so bad, right? Well, no, what is creativity? But impulsivity gone right. You don't plan to have a creative idea. You don't say it's 2:00, time for my creative idea and lay it like an egg. No, creative ideas pop. They come unexpectedly, unbidden, unlooked for. They'll interrupt you in the middle of dinner. They'll interrupt you in the middle of your sleep. They'll interrupt you while you're taking a shower. Or they'll entertain you while you're being forced to listen to a boring lecture or a boring conversation. This impulsivity, creativity depends upon. In order to be creative, you have to have a leaky braking system, to slow you down. You've got to be able to get interrupted, to be spontaneously disturbed by some new idea. And then the third element of the triad of symptoms that define ADD, hyperactivity, you get to be my age, I'm 70 years old, it's called energy. I'm really glad I've got this little turbo pack on my back. So think of this condition as a trait that can be onerous and terrible, but if you learn how to unwrap the gifts embedded in it, can become a superpower. That's the true nature of this condition, positives and negatives. And the goal being, of course, to maximize the power of the positives and minimize the damage done by the negatives. Okay, that's my first in these series of short introductory talks about ADHD or ADD. Well, I want to once again thank you to our sponsor, Omega Bright Wellness. I've been taking their omega-3 supplement for years and recently started their CBD supplement as well. Omega Bright products, I trust them because I know the woman who's in charge of the company, a Harvard Medical School graduate. She's very fussy about quality, efficacy, and is always looking to make sure that the product she has is the best in the business. And Distraction listeners can save 20% off their first order with the promo code podcast2020 at omegabrightwellness.com. Okay, that's going to do it for today. Remember to check out Distraction on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And please reach out to us with your ideas for show topics or questions you have at connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's the word connect at distractionpodcast.com. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. The wonderful, beautiful, talented Sarah Guertin is our producer, and the equally wonderful, talented, and I hesitate to say beautiful, Scott Persson is our sound engineer and editor. I'm Dr. Ned Hallowell saying goodbye for now. The episode you just heard was made possible by my good friends at Omega Bright Wellness. I take their supplements every day, and that's why I invited them to sponsor my podcast. Shop online at Omega Bright, and that's BRITE wellness.com.